to Street Patrol. I'm Sam.
I'm Chris.
And we are still here with our very special guest, Chrisitian Carson.
What up? What up?
What up? So, Christian is here. If you guys weren't already listening, hot off the release of his new album, Vice Versa. Yay!
Yeah.
So going back to talking about the album a little bit, so I know you mentioned that you recorded it with Ron Bumblefoot, and I'm sure he was a huge influence on the album. But do you have any other particular influences on this album, or just on your music in general?
Well, I know we were talking off air for a little bit about it, but Kiss was a huge band for me when I was a kid. I started playing and singing and stuff when I was around 8 years old, so
oh, wow.
Really young. I used to play with guys that were 45 when I was 10. Yeah. There was this place in Seaside, I remember, I'm just thinking about it right now, where I used to get dropped off from my mom, and it was a bar called Razzles in Seaside, and after hours I used to jam with these guys who were 45, and we play Kiss songs. And
that's awesome.
And then I had a Kiss tribute band when I was a kid for a little while. That was my first thing when I was 10, 11 years old. And
that's crazy.
Yeah, it was cool. It was good times. Kiss is the gateway drug to rock, to rock and metal and all that. It's they've inspired so many people. I mean, Dimebag Darrell, from Pantera, I mean, you name it, really. Alice in Chains guys, you name it, So Kiss was always a big band for me growing up, and then of course it led me into everything else, and I'm a fan of all kinds of music too, so it's really not just the hard rock and metal, but if something moves me, I'm into it, so. But yeah, Kiss is definitely one of them, and then of course Alice is an influence. Alice in Chains, Guns N' Roses with and Bumble's era too, when he did the whole Chinese Democracy era with Guns N' Roses. That was awesome. I know people knock that era, and I think some of those songs on that album that were great. It's really underrated, really, if you listen to some of them. And what was cool for me is working with Bumble and being able to ask him stories about that record and just certain songs and. All that stuff. It's just so cool, be like a fly on the wall for those sessions. I'd ask him, what does Axl do with his singing technique? In the studio, how does he do this and do that? And it's just so cool to, hear different things like that, from the man himself,
Exactly,
So it was awesome. That was one of the things. It was an inspiration to me and an influence to me to work with somebody who was, an influence on me, you know what I mean? It inspired me more to just keep going with the record. So Bumble's an inspiration, for sure.
That's so awesome. So you mentioned you've been playing guitar since you were 8 years old?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I had a Kiss tribute band when I was 8, 9 years old, all the way probably till I was 10 or 11, or probably actually 12, I think was when I stopped the tribute band. It started forming some of my own original stuff, and had some bands through middle school and high school and all that. And then I went to actually Musicians Institute out in California right after high school. So I went out there and met a bunch of different people and played with a bunch of different guys, and kind of used the school as a platform to go meet other musicians and basically form Commonwealth. So that's how Commonwealth came about. Awesome. But when I was a kid and did the Kiss stuff, I ended up I had a lot of medical issues and stuff when I was a kid. I was actually born legally blind and have glaucoma in both eyes and a lot of stuff like that. So, but I got a wish from the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Oh wow!
And I was the only person ever to ask for a musical instrument from the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Oh, really?
Ever.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, so far. So
still to this day, do you think?
Possibly, but I'd like to find that out, actually.
Yeah, we should look it up.
Yeah. But I remember at the time they were really surprised. They were like, wow, no one's ever asked for an instrument.
Why don't you want to go to Disney World?
Yeah, that's what they do, trips and things like that. They want to meet baseball teams and things like that. And the first thing I said was, I want to meet Kiss, because that was my inspiration. They were comic book heroes to me, you know what I mean? They weren't even human, you know? So, and they were like, oh, well, Kiss is not one of the bands that currently work with us. Now they kind of do, I think, work with Make-A-Wish. Yeah, but at the time they didn't. So the next best thing was to get Ace Frehley's guitar.
Wow. Oh, wow.
So I got a guitar directly from Ace, one of his Gibson Les Pauls, signed by him.
Wow,
got the lightning bolt inlays and the Ace head on the headstock, and it's awesome. It's an awesome guitar.
That's crazy. And you still have it to this day?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. And it's something that you want to hang on to, you know what I mean? But I've got so much Kiss memorabilia and stuff and signed stuff. And I ended up meeting all the guys, and I've had Paul Stanley call me at home, when I was older and invite me out to a Kiss show now and, to hang out with all the dudes. And so it's kind of come full circle for me with that, and
awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. I'm blessed that I was able to be able to have these experiences, and I don't take it for granted, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So did you have someone who influenced you to start playing music, or just you picked it up yourself, or how did that start?
Well, a lot of my family members play.
Okay.
Yeah, I have 6 uncles, and every single one of them plays
that's
guitar
awesome.
and stuff. So yeah, and then a lot of my cousins play. So music was always around me. My mom sings a little bit, and sung in church and things like that. So it was always around me. And then like through finding Kiss, one of my best friends when I was a kid, their dad was so into Kiss and hard rock and different records and things. I used to go over there and find his stuff, and that's what kind of led me on my own path. But I didn't have to go far to look for somebody to show me some stuff on guitar, or I had all my uncles playing, so it was always around. I think my uncles were the ones. One of them was the one who gave me my first guitar. So
cool.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned that you were born legally blind. You have glaucoma, right?
Yes.
So how has that affected your journey as an artist? Have you ever faced like any discrimination or any challenges kind of going into the industry?
Sure. Well, as a kid is probably where it's been the most toughest. Through school, stuff like that. I mean, as you know, kids and stuff could be tough. Could be bullies. So growing up in middle school, even elementary school, things like that, you hear different things. But I always kind of kept to myself a little bit. But I never really had a problem making a couple good friends either. So that kind of helps you get through it. But I have to say, like, light sensitivity is a huge thing for me. So I know nobody can really see right now, but I'm wearing like these really dark glasses in here. It's not like to be cool.
Yeah.
But it's light sensitivity is hard. So stage lighting and things like that.
Yeah.
You run into a lot of problems where you probably don't think you're gonna have any,
Right.
and then you realize how for somebody like me there is a lot of problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other people, they may not have to think about some things that I think about, but I have to. So but it's not crippling.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I think you become accustomed to things that you always have, so it's kind of like I don't know any different. You know what I mean? I was born with it, so it's not like it was taken away from me, which thank God, but you get through each day, you know what I mean, as best you can.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing with
Thank you,
me.
man. Yeah, no problem.
So as we mentioned at the beginning of this on-air break, Christian just dropped his first solo album, Vice Versa, and you guys are going to want to keep tuned because in the next 15 minutes at around 9 p.m. we're going to be playing 3 tracks off that album. So stay tuned so you can hear that. But until then,